treasures and walked in the greenery of timeless gardens. You have admired a city kissed by the sun, dining by the sea, caressed by the breeze. You have traveled the world in your dreams, but now is the time to really go. This summer, come to Genoa. Genoa. All you ever wanted.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to all of you e-sailing fans sitting around the world. Welcome to the wrap up, the following up of what happened from the Regatta Genova to Trieste in Virtual Regatta Inshore.
Yeah, it was the biggest prize pot ever in an e-sailing offshore event, and basically we left Genova about, 3-4 days earlier, and travelled around the boot of Italy up to the wonderful city of Trieste, so that we're all ready for Barcolana in the coming weekend. And it was a fantastic race. Almost 20,000, in fact over 20,000 e-sailors took part in the end, and it was exciting right to the finish. This is our review of it.
Yeah, this is we actually have to go in and analyze what happened, Alec, and we prepared it a lot. So let's start and see what happened, because it all started quite nice and slow from the beautiful city of Genova. And you have to remember that's also where this fantastic boat show is. They're having their 60 years. This is the 16th event of them.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great idea, wasn't it? A great concept to celebrate the 60th edition of the Genova Boat Show, which is kind of so fundamental to not just Italian sailing, but the whole of the sort of maritime industry in sailing. And then timing it so that the boats arrived just before the big Barcolana weekend in Trieste, the weekend that is coming up, the biggest regatta in the world.
But coming into this, Alec, we can see the first day, the first couple of hours, they ran 3 in the afternoon, day 1. They came to south of Rome, but see there, a lot of maneurings they made, or not many.
Yeah. So they were traveling upwind down this west coast of Italy, and sort of got away really with just a couple of tacks in the early stages as they traveled down towards Corsica, and then maneuvered to the east of Corsica and started to head towards the Italian coast. Now, we knew that the weather and the wind towards the coast was going to drop, especially at night. So it was going to be interesting to see what they did. And we were surprised, weren't we, Thomas, just how close they went to the coast.
Yeah, we made a little bit fun with one of our guests, Le Manoir, that he might have hit ground before going south towards the streets of Messina. But see here, 5 hours into time after the position at Roma, the wind was dropping. The day after, 24 hours, the first boat actually passes the streets of Messina. But see how they've been maneuvering, Alec.
Yeah. So the big debate before the race, and certainly in the early hours of the race, was who would go through the Straits of Messina and who would go the long way around Sicily. And our special guest on the on our launch show was Francesca Klapčić, the top Italian pro sailor who has done this race for real many times. And she said, definitely go through the Straits of Messina, because yes, you can lose the breeze through those straits because obviously you're so close to land. But the distance is so much shorter than going all the way around. And although not the whole fleet, because some did go the
long
to the
way,
west of Sicily, most went through the Straits of Messina. And you can see there the maneuvers that it took to get through the straits. It's very tight. But basically, those who managed to get through with the least number of maneuvers were the ones who came out on top.
Yeah, and they actually got some wind at 10.8 knots, Alec, and we didn't have that. But see, the day after, already 9:30 in the morning, the leading pack came to the Adriatic Sea. And that's where the battle begins. See the split in the fleet.
So we, as they came round Messina, we thought, is this going to be follow my leader all the way to the finish? Well, things changed once they were into the Adriatic Sea. And the debate then was, are they going to go towards Albania and the Croatian coast, or are they going to stay closer to the Italian east coast? And we got a split. And the wind started to change. It was more varied. It grew in strength and then it dropped in strength. And we saw this split, as you said, Thomas, with some staying to the left and some staying to the right. And we were beginning to see a pattern emerging on the leaderboard.
Yeah, but the Cassoletives was in the lead at this moment. And then we have a Nautilus in 8. Those two names we're going to see a lot too, because the rest of those in the leading pack we are losing in a few sec. So there we have 45 minutes later, Alec. Then we really can see the split. Some of them at the Italian coast, some in the middle, and some at the Albanian and the Croatian coast. But right now we can't see the big change in it, but the wind is dropping a lot at the moment.
And at that point, it looked like those who went towards Croatia were going to come off best. Yeah. But the wind started to drop, and that shuffled the pack quite a bit. And we started to see some of the Italian sailors who have, know these waters and these breezes better. We started to see them move up through the fleet on this left-hand side near the Adriatic coast.
Yeah, but see the leader there, all by himself, closest to the Croatian coast, and he actually chose to go in towards the island. See here, he maneuvered in between the islands. But the decrease of wind, as we just said, was going to hit him. See, 6 knots, 5.7, 5.6. And further up there, the wind is increasing. 12 knots, 14 knots. Just the closer they're coming towards Trieste.
It was at this point that we realized we weren't going to go into an extra day and that race was going to be decided during the night in Italy. And here we are with the winner then on that right-hand side. But he wasn't going to be there for very long. You could see how close the rest of the fleet were to him. Yeah. But by 1700 Italian time in that afternoon, it was all change. Suddenly, Prize Volant on the left-hand side of the Adriatic was beginning to emerge and came out as leader.
Yeah. So those who are leading the race now was at the Italian coast, and you can also see a wind change coming in, the direction of the wind coming in. So he's in the favorite side of the wind, but he also have a harder breeze. 1.5 hour later, 1 hour later actually only, we can see how they're actually moving away from the boats, the pack at the Croatian side, where the boats at the Italian side actually increasing their lead much more.
And we're beginning to see just down there on the left as well, Mediterranean Italia, who ended up as the best placed Italian boat, suddenly coming into the mix. And my goodness, his run into Trieste is something we'll talk about a little bit later on, because it's worth keeping an eye on. Yeah. But at the moment, still the split between left and right side of the Adriatic. Prize Volante of France out in front, but now we're seeing Daffy Duck, Luxair France, Ghostbuster. These are all names who were sailing near the Italian coast, and they're all names that we see moving ahead.
And it's quite amazing, Alec, to see how it developed. We saw the leader when they came into the Adriatic Sea. He was going towards Croatia. And that moving towards Croatia was actually why he lost his position and dropped down. He was almost out of top 10 at that moment. He was at position 8.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair to the ones who went that way, and the majority did, sailing in between the Croatian islands, before the race began, that is where you'd have expected them to go, and you'd have expected them to have the advantage there. But the wind shifted, and that made the big difference.
And Alec, now let's go in and see the big battle, because a lot of development happened. We had a guy up recording every half hour what happened from this point of this fantastic race, just to follow the development, and it couldn't be more exciting. If this was a real offshore event where it's real sailing, I have to say it was a very close loss for second and third, and the victor just came in front of them. Let's see how this happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was extraordinary how close the finish was in the end. But here we are, 2200 hours, and suddenly everyone is turning towards Italy, and the wind is beginning to shift. It's beginning to change in strength. It's getting stronger out in the middle of the Adriatic, and that's where they're going. They're hunting for breeze and also getting into position so that they can just slingshot themselves around and into the Bay of Trieste.
Yeah, and in the leading board, we can see the Ghostbuster is moving up to second at this moment. And our favorite Italian, Mediterranean, is there in ninth. But we couldn't see the leader from the Croatian side anymore on the ranking list in top 10. He's left behind. And the split is coming in. See there, Alec, a leading pack of 5 boats in front of the rest of the fleet that's trying to follow them. But somehow the wind pressure is a little bit lower.
Fraiser Volante now out in front and beginning to grow his lead. It's still close. Look at the distances, though. The top 4 separated by just 5 nautical miles. And now we're about 4 hours from the finish, which tells you how fast they accelerated towards Trieste at this point. It was quite incredible, really.
Yeah, we made a calculation, 8 nautical miles per half an hour. That is amazing. What a speed they had on the boat. It's also the Maxi 100, and we was told by Matt, who is in 6th, our favorite Australian, that's a fast boat. No changes, and it's still 12:30. We can see how the boats are following each other, slingshotting up towards Trieste. So now it's all about planning that tactics, and I know some of them went to bed and put in auto maneuvering and also waypoints to move about, but it's still Fraiser Volante in the lead. Let's just see how it is. It's only 70 nautical miles from the finish line. He's side by side with Daffy Duck.
All these boats fully upgraded amongst the leaders. So a full set of light wind sails, strong wind sails, and all sorts of help as well to get them through the night to the finish line faster, including, as you said, the kind of auto change on the sails, which saves them having to slow down when they are changing sails, which happens on the boats that haven't been upgraded.
Yeah. At 12, we could see the wind is increasing, and watching to 2 in the night, we can see a small decrease in the wind coming in towards Trieste, but the wind will be in their favor coming from the side. Still no change in top 10, but now it's going to be exciting. It is 12:30 in the night. Still no change, but some of the players, we spoke with them, we were in written contact with them, said, hey, we are now planning to do something crazy if we are going to win. 1 nautical miles in between the leaders a half an hour before, so it's all about timing that maneuvering towards Trieste as we're drawing here.
And look how strong the wind has got and how it's changed in direction, and it's going to power them towards the finish line. So we're about a couple of hours now from the finish, just under a couple of hours, and they can see lights of Trieste on the horizon, and that is where they're heading. And now we've got a sort of a top three developing, and the battle for first, second, and third. Who was going to get the big prize fund of €2,000? It was 1,000 for second place and 500 for third, and that's what was at stake here.
But quite interesting what's happening here, Alec, because Daffy Duck is the first to do his maneuvering towards Trieste, and the leading boat is continue his direction towards the Italian coast and didn't maneuvering quite well. So at this moment, was that a good or a bad decision? We can actually see how they're sailing 23.3 knots when they maneuvered towards Trieste, where the leader, he was sailing 21 knots. And see, 1:30, Alec. 5 boats in the lead.
So they were traveling at some of the fastest speeds of the whole race. And here you can see 5 boats as the top 3 of those 5 start to break away. And we should point out, look at those tacks and where they decided to tack. And that final maneuver proves to be decisive. So Daffy Duck just sneaking ahead of Frise Volante and Luxair France. But look, there's really hardly anything between them. I mean, we talk about the last Volvo Ocean race finish being close. Well, this was almost as exciting. Daffy Duck, 44 here in the night, making his way towards the lights of Trieste. Frise Volante just off the side. And you can see Daffy Duck in the distance as Luxair France as well. The battle was between these 3.
Yeah, and now it's coming in 2 in the night, Alec. I know you were sleeping at this time, but I was woke up in the studio by the technician saying, hey Thomas, come in. It's going to be very, very exciting now. And see there in the lead, Frise Volante taking the lead back. Somehow that positioning, that late maneuvering towards Trieste was helping him to capture win. So he was winning 0.25 nautical miles in total on Daffy Duck, actually more on it. And 2:30. Now the battle is in.
Yes, your phone call had come in 20 minutes earlier and I was rushing down to the studio to watch this dramatic finish for this race that we were expecting would take 6 days. And in the end, it took, I kind of lost count. It was about 3.5, I think. So here we go. Frise Volante now coming towards the finish out in front and trying to grow the distance between himself and second and third. Look at that, though. The top 5, all French. I know there's a Swiss flag on number 4, but he's a French sailor sailing in France. 20 nautical miles left for the leader. And the guys out there actually doing the sailing would have really been feeling the pressure now. Just the slightest of wrong angles could cost them the big prize fund.
Yeah. And there we go, 3 in the night. 3 skippers in our calculations could win this race. It could be Frise Volante, it could be Luxair France, and it could be Daffy Duck. But it's all about how they're going around this coastline towards Trieste. And they're only going to race for the circle here, as we are pointing out.
Yeah, that's the finish line.
Yeah.
The finish line off the coast of Trieste in the bay there. Notoriously light winds at this time of year around there. And now a 1/4 nautical mile advantage for Frise Volante. He was just having to hold on. Look how close, though, for second and third.
Yeah, amazing stuff, amazing stuff. And let's just see the leader here before going in to the studio again here. 12 nautical miles left on 16 knots in speed. So Alec, 0.25 nautical miles, a 1/4 mile in between the leader and second. So a small mistake from the leader could lose everything.
Absolutely. Equally, that was the same in the battle for second and third. And remember, there's 500 euros at stake between those two positions and 1,000 euros between second and first. So apart from, of course, the fact that these guys were really sailing for pride as well. They wanted to show which of those top 5 were the best French sailors in these conditions.
Yeah, but amazing. Let's go in and see how it all ended in this fantastic race. Fleet coming in much faster than us through the streets of Messina up to the Arabian Sea, and now we are at the finish line. 2 boats, 3 boats, it is on the finish line. We're coming in, Alec. Let's go.
Let's see who this is.
The leader.
Number 1.
He has won. This was just when he crosses the finish line. Let's.
3 days, 6 hours, 42 minutes and 59 seconds for our winner. And Daffy Duck took the 3rd place as well, just 2 minutes and 8 seconds behind. Oh, so it was Ghostbuster in the end in 4th. So Daffy Duck and Ghostbuster fighting it out for the 500 euro 3rd place prize. Lux Air France, just 1 minute 42 behind. And isn't that extraordinary, Thomas, when you've been sailing for so long and for such a distance, for the leading 3 boats to be so close?
What a battle, Alec. When we saw the start of this race, we were thinking, follow the leader. Whoosh, small mistake in maneuvering, and then things will change a little bit. But everything came to a huge battle the last 9 hours of the race.
Yeah, everyone seemed to be playing it quite safely upwind as they came, down that west coast of Italy. But it all changed on the east coast as they travelled up the Adriatic. And we should mention as well, Mangina of Australia, the best placed non-French sailor. He finished in 6th. And also congratulations to Nicola, otherwise or alias Mediterranean Italia, as the best placed Italian sailor who finished in 8th. And he was from Naples, not from Trieste, but I think just as satisfying. And he was really excited, wasn't he? Because we spoke to him later on that night, and he was really excited and happy with his performance. Yeah,
but again, when we see how it developed, we saw Daffy Duck when they did the maneuvering towards Trieste being in the lead. We saw Fresh Valente in 2nd, Lux Air France in 3rd, but it was ending up Daffy Duck losing it. And I have to say, we have been trying to investigate why did he lose so much momentum, and we couldn't come in contact with him and get an answer. But I know only one solution that could make him lose that, because they were sailing the same way. He didn't have auto sails on, or he wasn't aware that he might needed to change sails, and that was the difference of 0.1 or 0.2 knots per hour towards Trieste, losing this event.
Wow, if it was only a case of an upgrade, it would have been a cheap upgrade if he'd won an extra 500 euros, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but that's how it is, that's how it is. Maybe he didn't have the card, or he went to bed and thought, hey, I'm safe here, the wind will not change much, so we can keep the same sails on.
Anyway,
Alec,
congratulations to all of them. It was a fantastic performance, and it really kept us excited all the way to the finish.
Yeah, that was how this event, Genova Trieste, unfolded. What a fantastic event we just experienced, and it got very exciting in the end. And now, Alec, they came to Trieste, and what's going to happen in Trieste this weekend?
So that was kind of the Genova to Trieste offshore was exciting. It was absorbing and fascinating, but it was like the antipasto to the main course that is coming this weekend. It's Barcolana, and we have the e-sailing Barcolana Cup beginning on Thursday night European time, Italian time, and that should run for a couple of nights, and we'll be bringing you that live, ready for the real Barcolana Regatta that happens Saturday and Sunday of that weekend.
Yeah, what a show. Alec, let's end up to watch beautiful Trieste, what they're going to see there. all of you, thank you for following this fantastic regatta. Thank you for all your questions and comments. We will be back with the inshore finals, semi-finals tomorrow and finals on Friday. Cheers out.